Just give me your take on what you're at least aware of right now and whether there is a place for the regulators to potentially step in.
Good morning, and thanks for having me. I'm sure that the regulators have already stepped into this situation. These are the kinds of places where the SEC, FINRA, and the exchanges all come together very quickly to watch this, and they watch it very carefully because there is so much speculation, there's so much up and down in the pricing that there's huge potential for people to get hurt. So you can be assured that they're doing that as we speak.
Tom, how do they approach sort of the open nature of this? This is not people leveraging their influence or their connections. It's simply leveraging social media. Do you think there are existing laws in place that will help regulators put a ring fence around these dislocations?
Absolutely. They've put a ring around this kind of behavior for a long time. This is not the first time you've seen a speculative bubble. This is just the latest time that you've seen this. You've got a huge short interest here. You've got what's sort of unusual here is you seem to have a lot of popular interest from people who are interested in GameStop, but there are guardrails that the regulators have put in place. There's the fraud statutes. If you're not telling the truth, if you're doing something deceptive, if you're doing something that's manipulative, they'll step in. There are other guardrails that stop the trading so that everything keeps up to date, so everybody's trades are getting registered. But what they don't do is they don't stop the speculation. That's been a subject of conversation in the securities markets, the fraud market, the futures markets for years. But speculators give liquidity to these markets. When it gets out of control like this, it can be very disruptive, and a lot of people can get hurt. A lot of hedge funds have been bailing out of their positions here. A lot of them are going to have problems covering their short positions, and that will cause the regulators some heartburn. But there's a very clear set of regulations here, a very clear set of guardrails that the regulators are watching. And be assured they're looking at those guardrails. They're also looking at social media to try to tie that up to the trades. And the SEC in particular is very good at doing that.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, just to dig into that a little bit more, though, in terms of those guardrails, I mean, I realize you could talk about what constitutes market manipulation or collusion, but what we're essentially talking about when we look at Reddit right now, at least from first glance, is what one trader sort of put it to me is crowdsourced activist investing right now. I mean, if it's just people talking and trading and talking about their trades on social media, how is that really that different than, say, one of these hedge fund investors coming on and talking their book on CNBC? How do you build that case when so many people are involved in that conversation in those threads?
You have to do this very carefully. And as I said, the SEC has been doing this for years. They're very good at doing this, and they can go trade by trade by trade. They take those trades, they match them up to what they're seeing on social media, they match them up to what you're saying, and they make sure that you're staying within the guardrails of what you're doing. So if you're talking about your trades, it better be that you're telling the true story. It better be that you're telling the whole story. If you're putting stuff out there just to move the price, if they came on your show, for example, just to hype the price, then they're gonna be able to figure that out. You'll see it from things like they put on a big position, big short position, big long position just before they got on your show. Then they come in on here and talk it up, and then it moves. And you can bet that they're going to be hauled in with a subpoena by the SEC to ask them what they thought they were doing there, because that looks manipulative.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.